But all right, I think I've exhausted everyone's patience with horse stuff. So let's move on to our classic of the night, Tommy Boy.
Tommy Boy, yes. The movie that introduced us to, introduced a lot of people to Chris Farley, if they didn't know him about it from SNL.
Was this his first movie, or like first major role in a movie?
I think this was his first major role in a movie. Yeah,
because he was in Wayne's World, but I forget the chronology of that.
Yeah, he was in Wayne's World 1 and 2. But yeah, he had like very minor roles in both. Although he had a bigger role in the second one than he did in the first one. But yeah, I think this was his first major starring role in a movie. Working alongside. It was. It was his first starring role in a movie. But yeah, and of course, alongside his SNL buddy David Spade, who was basically the straight man in the movie.
And it's a good role for him. I always think he's kind of better. Well, actually, okay, he is by his nature a very sarcastic man.
Yes,
I have actually listened to his audiobook biography, which is actually kind of interesting. But it's like, that is the wheelhouse he plays in.
Yeah. I actually had one of my friends growing up reminded me of David Spade. Very similar personality, even kind of looked like him too.
Yeah.
But yeah. So the Tommy Boy, of course, is the story of Tommy Callahan, played by Chris Farley, and he is the son of a car manufacturing or auto parts manufacturing tycoon. His dad's played by Brian Dennehy, and Tommy. As the movie starts off, we see a little scene with him as a kid. I actually like that scene because it was a really good establishing of that he's not, he's got a good heart, but he's not all there. He's
not especially bright.
No, he's not very bright. But he's lovable. He's fun to be around. And of course, the whole bit where he doesn't swear.
Holy shnikes!
Holy shnikes! And and if you were a kid growing up in the 90s, like that was every kid used that, to avoid getting in trouble for swearing. You'd say holy shnikes. Or hits it, son of a.
Yeah.
And then, but then we fast forward to him in college.
On his 7th year, I believe.
7th year of college, yes. Which I'm guessing it was a reference to Animal House with.
I was wondering.
It probably was, yeah, because Farley. I mean, that was his idol. Farley. That's who Farley patterned all of his humor after was Belushi.
Which is so funny to me because I think of them as being very different comedians. Like what I say is Belushi was much more like he always had this simmering anger under him in his roles, where Farley usually like he could start screaming like a madman, but it was still always like kind of clownish, ridiculous, and like it was like an interruption to general happiness that he had.
Yeah. And there are definitely a lot of scenes in there like that in this movie.
Yes,
but yeah, he's going to college at Marquette, which is not a podunk university. I mean, that's like going to Duke.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a pretty prestigious university. It's not like Harvard or Yale, but I mean it's up there. So kind of pretty amazing there. Obviously, Dad got him in. But yeah, he finally manages to pass his history final and graduate, and so he heads back to his hometown of the Sandusky, Ohio, which is a very very blue collar, very middle America, middle income town. So then he shows up, and then of course Dad gives him a job, and then he finds out that Dad is getting married to Bo Derek.
Which, as I recall, as she's coming out of the pool in her swimsuit, Tommy goes, "For me? Nah, son, for me."
Yeah. And then he, of course, he makes the little reference to 10, like, oh, she's a 10. And of course, she's got a son, played by Rob Lowe, playing
another pretty boy villain.
Yeah. And of course, he has the famous line with Tommy. Did you eat a lot of paint chips when you were a kid? Why?
So it's David's father's wedding. They're having a nice little dance, and the dad just drops stone dead of a heart attack.
Yeah. And as a result, the company is about to get bought out by another big auto part manufacturer, Zelinsky Auto, and Zelinsky is played by Dan Aykroyd, doing his best Chicago accent.
Yep.
And so, in order to save the company, Tommy decides he's going to go around to all their clients to sell about, and he needs to sell $500,000 or 500,000 units. Was that what it was? 500,000 units of auto parts. And of course, everybody's like, well, you don't know anything about sales. You don't know anything about these auto parts. How are you going to sell them? He's like, well, I don't know anything. But then he points at David Spade and says, but he knows a lot of stuff. And
they had previously introduced David Spade as basically his dad's acolyte. It's like Tommy's the biological son. David Spade is the business son. The true acolyte who actually knows the business.
Yeah. And actually seems to care more than Tommy. And so then from there it turns into a road trip movie where they're driving around all these different towns, and of course David Spade's got this this nice vintage sports car that just gets progressively destroyed as the movie goes along.
That's a tradition that kind of need to bring back in movies. Is think about like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. This one, like just the tradition of destroying the car over the course of the movie.
Yeah. And of course, a lot of it gets mostly destroyed in one glorious scene where they accidentally hit a deer, and they, rather than leaving the deer on the road, they put it in the back seat of the car. Only for them to realize that the deer is not dead; it was just stunned. And so
just destroys the car.
And then Tommy's like, "That was awesome," but sorry about your car.
That's kind of Tommy Boy or Tommy himself as a character in a nutshell. Like a very Homer Simpsons-esque zest for life.
Yeah.
Without a lot of self-reflection, shall we say.
Yes. Yeah.
But it makes him easy to root for because he is trying very hard, even if he doesn't know what the hell to do at first.
Yeah.
Like the time he gets out the lighter and starts just igniting things.
Yeah.
To try to prove a point when it looked like he might have been able to make that sale if he hadn't gone off the deep end.
Yeah.
It occurred to me as I was watching this, and I've seen this movie a couple of times before, just how perfect the chemistry was between Spade and Farley. They just got each other so well.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. I think the only other movie they did together was Black Sheep, right?
which is unfortunate because I've never heard anything good about Black Sheep.
Yeah, everything I've heard about it is it's basically just a carbon copy of this movie, just in it with a different setup.
Or just politics instead of sales.
Right.
But,
yeah.
Which, I mean, this isn't the. I mean, this is a great movie, so maybe a Pale Imitation would be worth watching at some point.
Yeah.
Just because if you copy an A and make a C, people might be comparing it to the A, but it could still be a C level of enjoyment.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The other thought I had as I was watching this, in a better world where Chris Farley didn't unfortunately die in the mid '90s, we would have gotten possibly a Tommy Boy 2 in the 2000s when they're dealing with globalization and outsourcing, or they could have had a Tommy Boy 2 coming out on Netflix, kind of like
Happy Gilmore 2.
Happy Gilmore 2, where it's like him dealing with AI and things like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That could have been a really good movie. Yeah.
Unfortunately, he did pass. I think in 1997, I want to say.
Yeah, that sounds about right. 97, 98. Yeah.
Let's find out.
Yeah, he had a lot of demons.
97, yeah.
97, yeah. Yeah, he was like 32 or 33.
33. Yeah.
Food,
drugs.
Yeah, food, drugs. Yeah. I think it was mostly the drugs. He had a lot of issues. Much like his hero, his idol, John Belushi, similar thing.
Yeah. It's kind of he formed unfortunately he was the end of the trinity of great comedic actors who died before their time due to their own demons. Great tubby comedic actors between Belushi, John Candy, and then Chris Farley.
Yeah, yeah.
They even had a joke in King of the Hill, I recall, where Bobby, the son, is always wanted to be a comedian or a performer of some sort. And Hank sits him down and tells him that drugs are bad. Dad, I'm not going to do that. I want to be the first fat comedian to break the 40 barrier. It's like, oh. And the sad thing is, like, when that came out, you knew exactly who he was talking about.
Yeah, yeah. And and it's really sad because I mean they did it to themselves, and it's just like, man, yeah.
It's a great case of that joke about Pagliacci the clown, where Pagliacci the clown goes down, or excuse me. A man, I gave away the punchline. A man goes to see a psychiatrist, and he tells him, "Doctor, everything is awful. My food is tasteless. I can't laugh. I have no joy. I have no idea what to do with myself." The doctor says, "Well, I don't have an immediate solution for your problems, but you should go take in a show. Pagliacci the clown is in town tonight. Everyone laughs when he performs." And he says, "That's the problem. I'm Pagliacci." Like the comedian has nobody to make them laugh.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, but we did get this movie, which is great, and and unfortunately we didn't get Chris Farley's his version of Shrek, or he was actually also going to do a biopic of Fatty Arbuckle. Yeah,
okay.
which would have actually seen him doing a more dramatic role, as opposed to goofy comedy.
What could have been.
Yeah,
I think part of the reason we drifted into talking about his untimely passing is just because this is just a all-time top tier comedy.
Yeah,
and it's one of those things where you talked about a couple of the jokes, but you don't want to give away everything.
Right. Yeah.
Like I would say in the whole thing, there was only one gag or one sequence that I might have maybe cut, which is the airplane gag.
Oh yeah, yeah. I wonder if they didn't put that in there because they wanted David Spade to do his bye-bye.
Oh yeah,
from SNL. Bye-bye.
That's probably it. Probably backward engineered from there.
Yeah, yeah.
What I'll also say is that this movie, the love interest they gave him,
Yeah.
It is much more clear that she is a good fit for him, just because she has the same tendency of like shouting bloody threats at people when she gets angry in exactly the same way he did.
Yeah.
Which, you know, that can be hard to do in this sort of movie. Like,
Oh yeah.
actually have the love interest have a personality.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, yeah. But if for whatever reason you haven't already seen this movie yet, I think it's on Netflix until the end of the month.
Yeah, I think part of what inspired us to get on this, besides not wanting to watch our initial round of movies choices,
Yeah.
was the fact that it was a limited engagement.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I think we've said all we need to say for tonight.
Indeed.
Well,